Hi, everyone. This is Ray Petrie from the Augusta Free Press, joined today by former WWF, WCW, and Jim Crockett Promotions legend, Sam Houston. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing great. I missed me again. Hang on, let me see if I can fix this on my computer. Uh, no, it ain't working right. Okay, wait, I'm gonna get it. Okay, I'm doing good. How are y'all? I'm sorry.
We Augusta Free Press in Augusta County, Virginia, the Shenandoah Valley. A lot of our readers were Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling fans, and you were the Mid-Atlantic champion for a time. You were a stalwart. You were in what, two Starcades?
Yes, sir.
Two
Yes, sir.
Starcades. I watched both matches.
And actually, I was in three Starcades because the first one, but I didn't. I was not wrestling as I was not participating as a wrestler. I was participating as Dusty's security, in the Purple Rain deal and everything. If you look,
Ah,
you'll see me standing there. I was because he had to stay there for so long. He needed security around him because he stayed there through the whole Purple Rain song and then to Bob Seger, Old Time Rock and Roll. So that was kind of cool. So that was actually three, but
okay.
that's not good hairs.
Well, I mean, let's start there, I guess. What you came into Mid Atlantic as Dusty Rhodes' protege, so to
Well,
speak.
can I preface that a little bit?
Absolutely, please.
Okay, yeah, because a lot of people don't know this, and might as well get there and get it out. Okay, when I started before I started in the business, when I was 17, I knew I was going to be a wrestler. I've known since the second grade. I started wrestling with Catholic the wrestling camps at Catholic High School in Baton Rouge. Well, the coach saw that I had Jim Shields and Danny Hodge and all these AAU champions. He's like, "Hey, dude, you can come work out with the high school boys." So I'm a good amateur wrestler. Um, anyway, I wrestled in high school in the ninth grade, and then in the 10th grade, but my sister was kidnapped, so I had to quit the wrestling team. Um, so the tornado hit our house the next year. Then after that, we moved to Baton Rouge. Well, when we moved to Baton Rouge, I come up with tonsillitis or whatever. And so they were going to take my tonsils out. Well, when they took my tonsils out during the surgery, the anesthesiologist nicked the back of my windpipe, my pharynx. Then they gave me the gas and it inflated me. Now, I was in the 11th grade and I had my weight up to about 225, but it inflated me like a tire inner tube, all that anesthesia gas, and I flatlined. I died on the table for 2 minutes. Then they had to cut me on my neck and run tubes down to run those gases out. I didn't eat food for from April the 2nd to August the 13th that year. I went from 225 pounds to 230 pounds down to 128 pounds. Um, so I took my GED after that, and then I did everything I could. I worked at gas stations, ring crew, the whole 9 yards until I got my weight back up. Got in the ring with George Weingroff twice. I mean, the first time he gave me a lesson, and the second time he couldn't. But I came back for the second time, and I would have come back for as many times. He told my dad that I was ready. My dad looked at me and he said, "I've already lost you once. I'm not going to lose you again." He said, "You're not getting it. This business is not for you." I talked to Dusty. My dad had given Dusty his big break in 1969. Dusty was getting ready to retire and go into business with his dad. And my dad worked with him at the Sportatorium and changed the match. And Dusty won the match that night. And boom, that was Dusty's big shot, and chance. Well, anyway, Dusty was the type of person to repay favors. So Dusty said, "Kid," he knew I'd gone through with George Weingroff. He said, "Kid, come down to Florida." Well, I went down to Florida and had my bag with me and everything. And my dad had got called everybody and told them, not to book me or anything. Dusty said, I told him, I said, "I don't want to work under my real name." I said, "I want a name." I said, "I don't want to make it on my family's what legacy. I want to make my own." And he said, "Maybe your name is Michael Sam Houston." and I was from Waco, Texas. And I was elated. Well, J.J. Dillon said the kid's here every night with this bag. Come on, give him a chance. Because my dad told everybody not to put me to work. They gave me a chance, and I wrestled Charlie Cook that first match. So I wrestled down in Florida for the first 3 months. And it wasn't once a week or anything like it is now. It wasn't just a television production. So I was getting ready. I was being able to wrestle 6 or 7 days a week, and usually that's 3 times on Wednesday. You had 2 TV tapes on Wednesday morning, then you had to wrestle Wednesday night in Miami. You know, and I was riding up and down the road with Mike Rotundo and Mike Davis and Dusty and Blackjack and Hector Guerrero. I was learning because they were teaching me. We played a lot of ribs on each other and stuff. So I was down there for the first 3 months, and Dusty sent me to the Carolinas. So I was here and I would pick up Dusty up when I got up here. I was only working 2 nights a week in the Mid Atlantic area or whatever, here and there, and not getting a good chance. But I was always wrestling with Johnny Weaver or Sonny Fargo or Tommy Young, Rufus R. Jones, Jimmy Valiant. They were riding with me. Wahoo and I were real good friends, and they were giving me advice, and I was able to apply that every night. And that's why the territories, I mean, I feel were better as far as a working standpoint than what people try to do today. To me, today is more acrobats and gymnastics than it is, you know, putting out a good product. I mean, I see stuff all the time nowadays. I wished I could grab those guys and say, hey, it's just this easy. But you don't get a chance to too much. So I was in the Mid Atlantic area, and Dusty started coming in, and I would pick Dusty up and drive him around, even if I wasn't working. And I was kind of a chauffeur, but then deal happened in Fayetteville, and when it did, I mean, I was instantly lifted. The people, it was when the night Tully put the 27 stitches in my eye, and Dusty took me on TV that next day, and I was wrestling Buddy Landell, and uh, Dusty made me take my hat off on TV, and everybody's seen it, and uh, I don't know. That's when he made the interview. You wanted me everywhere, and then him and Magnum took me, and Buddy Landell went to open me up. Because it wouldn't have been that hard. Just tap it,
Right.
boom, you know. So, but Dusty and Magnum got there beforehand, and all of a sudden, boom. And then, I excelled because I was getting to wrestle the top guys a lot, you know, and I was learning every time I got in there with them. So I was blessed in that way to be able to work with, and then to be able to get into programs of guys like Crusher Khrushchev, who I won the Mid Atlantic title from.
Hmm.
I so feel bad that he tore his knee out when I beat him for the belt. Um, you know, and he was out for 9 months. But a lot of the wrestlers got together, and my wife and baby doll and I, myself included, we all gave money to him. And then Jim Crockett Promotion, because we don't have insurance and we
Right.
weren't making the big bucks, but we all got together and we took care of our own. But I got to get with Crusher Khrushchev, and then after Khrushchev, I got up with Black Bart. Uh, God, okay. We worked against each other, so we had some of the best matches, of my career. Bart wasn't a technical wrestler or anything like that, but I mean, we tore the joint down. He talks about it. If your listeners want to know, uh, uh, he just came out with a book not too long ago, and you can get it. I don't know the publishing, but he tells a lot of stories. I'm in here quite a bit, or a little bit, because we had some matches that you wouldn't believe. We had we had one in Baltimore and then one in Philadelphia. We're not allowed to wrestle in either state any from then on, from that match on. We beat up each other. We beat up the state athletic commission. The fans were spent after these matches. I mean, when Flair or the Road Warriors or the Rock and Roll, anybody went out to the ring after our match, it was like, eh, you know, that's all they got from a sold out arena, and that's all you're getting, because the people were physically spent from our match. Well, anyway, uh, Bart, I love the guy to death now. I mean, I loved him back then too, but we've grown closer and stuff. And I recently, well, he came down with stage 4 cancer, and it's running all through his body. And I just want to do whatever we can to help him. So, like, if people want autograph pictures or T-shirts of me, I'm asking that you make a donation to his GoFundMe, and if you'll show me the receipt, I'll send you whatever you want out. Um, but I'd kind of like to put that out there. He's going to have to undergo chemotherapy for the rest of his life, and everybody's pulled together. I went down and did a show for him in Texas. My wife and I drove down, and I wrestled this guy, Mr. Marvelous. Good wrestler, good wrestler. Um, but anyway, we went out there after all the old timers were coming up. Hey, Sam, don't do this, because all the young guys went out there and they're flip flopping and flying. They're using chairs and bells and hammers in the first and second match and all this other stuff. Anyway, the people were dead after 8 abortion town killing matches. They were just dead. And I went out there with Mr. Marvelous, and I really didn't do a whole lot except stay on his arm. Kept going back to that arm drag, tell a story in the ring. And then I didn't even bulldog him. He went to go body slam me, and I dropped behind him. And then when he turned around, I did just like I did Superstar Billy Graham. I small packaged him. 1, 2, 3, boom! I'm out of there. And no, I'm not bloody or nothing. I was happy, and the people were all happy. So we were able to turn that around too. But I'd like for any of your listeners or anything like that. Hey, if you want something, if you'd like some memorabilia, bandanas, T-shirts, or whatever, give me a shout and let me know, and then make a donation to Bart, and I'll send you something out.
We'd be happy to share your email, maybe, to coordinate that. Is that possible?
I'm not best to reach me through Facebook, Sam Houston,
There we go.
Facebook. That way I can help him out, and I'm helping. If y'all want something, I'm helping y'all out too.
We'll also have Black Bart's GoFundMe and the Amazon link to purchase his book written by Vinnie Barry, Wrestle Black Bart. So in a multitude of ways you can help Black Bart.
Anyway, but let me go back to getting in the ring with him was I don't know. It wasn't like, when you get in the ring with Brad Armstrong, or something like that, in a smooth, technical arm drag, wrestling match. Bart was a bit different. Have you ever watched Yellowstone, that TV
Yeah,
series with
yeah,
Kevin
sure,
Costner?
sure.
Rip,
Yeah,
the badass Rip.
yeah,
Black Bart was his role model, you know.
yeah.
But anyway, I had the most awesome match. People ask me all the time, "Oh, who was your best match with?" I can't tell you who my best match was with, because I was in there with so many great guys. But the ones that really stand out, yeah, were with Bart, were with Crusher Khrushchev at Starcade, with Ric Flair. I mean, I worked with Flair for 4 times. That was great. I could have wished I could have got so much more. I worked
Yeah.
with only got to work with Bret Hart once. I got to work or once. No, I got to work with Bret a few times. We both wished we could have had more. You
Hmm.
know. Uh, and then I got to work with Kurt Hennig. I've been blessed. Eddie Gilbert, Sting. Uh, but that was before Sting was doing the Scorpion. He was,
Sure.
using a Boston Crab back then. Rick Steiner broke my nose in it. Yeah. So, but I
So,
had, it's been great. Everything, I look back and yeah, wow, I was blessed. But the knowledge I got from the old timers and the old timers, I know a lot of the young guys want to do it their way and stuff. I walked into Vegas. I hadn't been in the ring in 7 years, and I was in prison. I was only in prison for 5, but uh, I hadn't been in the ring for 7 years, and the CACs gave me the opportunity to get back in the ring, pull my boots back on, and I really needed that, inside for me.
mhm.
And I had a match with Sin Bodhi, and I just went back to basics, and I had the people on their, we had the people on their feet. Uh, and this is like the 4th match in, so they'd already seen all the, shits and giggles and pizzazz and everything. Everybody, the first 3 or 4 matches going out there not knowing what they're doing. But we went out there and we had a match, and after 15 minutes, the match I think it was a no contest or they threw it out. Well, I rolled out of the ring, and the highwayman, Chris Christopherson, was sitting on front row.
Wow.
He stood up and he got in my face and he pointed his finger in my face and he said, "You're the real shit, man." And I was like, dude, that's Chris Christopherson. All I could think of was like the best country western, the best line ever in a country western song was, "I'd trade all my tomorrows for a single yesterday." You know, and I said that, and I didn't worry about showering or nothing. I went threw my shirt back on, all sweaty and everything, nasty. Went back out there so I could take my picture with him and talk to him. And then the next night, his boy was in the battle royal. Jody Christopherson, I think it's a war pig or something was his name. But anyway, he had these fangs that some dentist make these canine teeth for his mouth.
Mhm.
The battle royal, I knocked him out. Chris come up and thanked me for it. He thought they were goofy too. But yeah, yeah, I mean, my wrestling stuff has all been great, and all the guys I've been in there with and stuff. I mean, I've been in the ring with Andre the Giant and battle royals and stuff. Who can, but so anyway, I go into Vegas. I walk in the dressing room, and everybody's huddled in little groups of 2 or 3, and they're all talking like, they're in the corner along the wall and making, and it's kind of like, what is this?
Right.
So I set my stuff right down in the middle of the dressing room, announced who I was. I said, "My name is Sam Houston." Said, "I'm sitting right here. This is my wrestling bag." I said, "There's a great big stack of $50 bills in this side pocket where the zipper's broken. They better be here when I get back." So I go outside, smoke a cigarette, come back inside, look in there. There's no stack of 50s, right? So there wasn't a stack of 50s in there anyway.
Right.
But there's no stack of 50s. I'll make another big deal. And then I go get 2 security guards and they start coming up and jacking people up against the wall. Oh, the fun you could have at the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
But I kind of broke the tension, and then I made sure I walked around. See, they don't have any dressing room etiquette now. You walk around the room and you introduce yourself to everybody because people don't know who you are,
Right.
unless you're famous. you know. And a lot of the guys that I see at shows now aren't famous.
Right.
So, but they've got to want to listen. It's not all about acrobatics and gymnastics. It's about actual wrestling. That's what the marquee says, wrestling, and that's what people will pay for. I walked into a dressing room in Texas with Rod Price. Rod and I used to work against each other all the time. Rod played for the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Rams, I think. Anyway, uh, oh, he had shoulder blow, but he was great, man. Everything, his timing, everything. He could really get out there and produce. So, uh, but this is later on. This is after I got out of prison. Rod helped me get booked on this show in Texas. So I walk in the dressing room and I look around and there's 9 guys with baseball bats wrapped up with barbed wire. Uh, I just looked around. I said, "Y'all got to be the biggest bunch of," and then I said the P word, the you call a cat, the biggest bunch of those I've ever seen in my life. If it you ain't tough if it takes you a baseball bat and a wrapped up in barbed wire to be tough. You ain't tough, you know? So that's what I told them. Anyway, so my match got made into a handicap match. And then Rod come up to me and he said, "There's 3 of them going out." And I said, "I don't care." And I was sober. So I haven't drank in 15 years, y'all. Over 15 years. So anyway, I said, "I don't care because I know what I'm doing."
Right.
So Rod goes, "I'm gonna come out with you." I said, "Cool." So I went out there. Well, one guy started to go make a move or something like that. I saw it out of the corner of my eye. Rod, because I was doing really good against 2 of them, just smacking them around. They didn't know what they were doing. So I was just toying with them. Anyway, beating them up a little bit. Tuning them up is probably a good word to use. Rod come around that corner with a clothesline and nailed this guy. And I kid you not, he did not move for 8 minutes.
Red day.
Yeah,
Whoa.
dude. I went over
Wow.
there and looked. I was like, damn, you know?
Wow.
But that's when your buddy's got your back. And
Yeah.
Charlie Norris, man, he's the greatest tag team partner I ever had. My brother, I'm a member of uh, his tribe. It's such an honor to me to be the leader of the Makwa clan, the Bear people. Um, I got my Indian name recently, and I'm so honored. They said usually you get it at the beginning of your life. I'm getting mine at the end of my life, and uh, he said uh, the spirits talked to him like no other when he was asking about me, and he said through all the things that you've been through, your name means still standing strong. It'll be really hard. People wouldn't understand my native name, but it means still standing strong. And it was a beautiful ceremony, and we were able to do a beautiful ceremony for my partner. But Charlie and I, we traveled the world, gosh, all over like 6 times. Boom, boom. Japan 5 times, and then I was almost eaten by cannibals twice in New Guinea. He was almost eaten by cannibals once. We
Whoa.
were together the second time. I almost got, but they were carrying me to the big black pot. I was at an autograph sign and I had to go to the restroom and I got out of the little ring and then all those the tribes people over there picked me up over their head and they were carrying me out of the soccer arena and the Australian army had to come and start shooting people down with rubber bullets, beating them with clubs and these
Wow.
Rottweilers to come get me out. They got me in the transport. And the major goes, "You ever watch Bugs Bunny?" I went, "Bugs Bunny? Oh, Bugs Bunny, yeah." He said, "You know the one with the Ethiopian?" I was like, "Yeah." He said, "There was a big black pot in your future, mate." He said, "They were going to take me, cook me up, and eat me so my spirit would live through them." And when you look back through the tribes and the different things going on and everything, like it's in the movie Zorro, so you can see through the other, you drink the water or whatever the eyes are in,
Mhm.
so you can see through your enemy's eyes. Well, that spirit, they believe that spirit lives through them, and they were going to eat me, so that warrior spirit goes through them.
Wow.
Yeah, they were going to eat us twice.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I came back to Dallas. I walked into the my dad's place and I said, "You're not booking me on any overseas tours anymore."
um, Going back to when you got into business, how much did that amateur wrestling background help you? And would you suggest more wrestling schools teach at least a little
Yeah,
bit of
they
amateur
need
wrestling?
to. Everybody needs to learn the basics. Everybody. Everybody needs to learn to sit out, a switch, go behinds. That's going to help you so much. You don't understand. Amateur wrestling is a fluid dance with each other. Move, counter move, boom, 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 boom. And if you can't do that in the ring, you know, you need to be able to go not just headlock to the arm, boom, boom, and then back around. It's a dance, and the best way to learn that dance is start with the basics. You know, you can learn all that flippity floppity stuff that's going to break your neck and everything else later, but you don't really need that, and people don't get it. Um, okay, let's just say it like this: our competition in combat sports were against boxing,
Hmm.
right? But you got gloves on, so it's not the same. You're just
Right.
rock 'em, sock 'em robots, or you got MMA, which is grappling, jiu-jitsu, all the martial arts or all the arts, wrestling, right? Um, that's what we're competing against.
Right.
So if you want the wrestling product to be as believable as the MMA product, you've got to be wrestling. You can't be doing gymnastics.
Right.
People know that ain't right. You know, you hit him 50 times in the head and he ain't bleeding yet. Well, you ain't
Right.
hitting very hard. You can't crack an egg with that punch. So, you got to lay it in there. And you've got to be able to give and take, you know, um, missing a guy by that much on stuff. Oh, it might pass for the camera, but it don't pass for real life. You
Right.
know, you ever watch Ole Anderson?
Yeah, absolutely.
He mauled people, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you ever call him fake?
Absolutely not.
Would you ever call, Johnny Valentine, any of those guys? These guys get out there today with their, shiny pants and I'm not saying, yeah, you got to get noticed. That's what this job is all about. But get noticed with your skills and ability. Everything else is gravy. All
Right.
the gear and the fancy stuff. The guy come up. He was one of the commentators for NWA a couple months back, and he go, "Oh, because I had my hat on and I had my duster and my all my stuff." Anyway, he comes up to me. He goes, "Awesome gimmick, dude! It wasn't a gimmick." And I let him know. I said, "This is me. This is real.
Right.
This is real life. I'm not no actor. I'm a wrestler. You know, I just play on TV. But I'm a wrestler." And but anyway, so they kind of get the message. Tyrus, I mean, when I met him, he actually fell out the chair on his knees and shook my hand. I was like, damn, you know.
Yeah.
So I must have done something right along my career.
Who are some of the guys you watch today, if there are any, that you just think they get it? They understand what this business is about, how it's supposed to look. It looks real, it's believable.
I gotta tell you, I don't really follow too many. I don't really watch the pro. If it's on, I might watch a couple minutes of it, but I
Sure.
really don't watch the product anymore. Because of all the BS. Now I go down and I watch the NWA sometimes when my daughter tapes in Tampa, or if
Hmm.
she's around close. Well, Tampa to here is what, 10 hours. I mean, I've driven down there a couple times now to go see her. So I guess I do support the National Wrestling Alliance. Some of their talent, they've got some that are top shelf.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know, and then there's some that I feel are just reaching,
Yeah.
and I wish these guys today could have the opportunity. But I go to the wrestling schools, even though they don't look at getting in the ring as a blessing. They just look at it, part of the job. You stood to get in the ring when I was part of the ring crew. I had to set the ring up first,
Hmm.
and then I got to test it out. So being able to get in the ring and be able to have any time in the ring, getting some ring time was a big deal. And the guys don't think it is. So when they get in there, they're not trying to have matches. or anything like that. They're working on, okay, we'll do 50 squats, or they don't even do squats and push-ups now before they start. They stretch the legs a little bit and then they're ready to go. And you had to do like 300 squats before you stepped in the ring back then. Um, you had to be able, to warm up, to get,
Right.
you got to warm up to wear yourself out. Anyway, but they don't do all that. They work on like a couple of moves, a 6 minute high spot match. They're gonna go out and then they change the whole thing. What they need to do is get in the ring, lock up, don't say nothing to each other, and just wrestle.
Yeah.
And they'll learn so much more. They don't gotta, kill each other, but they, at least wrestle to where you that's how you're gonna feel it. But anyway.
Your daughter won half of the current NWA World Women's Tag Team Champions,
Yeah,
Miss.
I'm proud.
Uh, what is it like watching her wrestle? With all the experience you have, how proud are you of her?
I'm very proud. I still wish, just like everybody else does. I didn't think I would feel this way, but I think I want my kid out of it. But my daughter is very good. I did. She had her first couple of matches while I was still locked up in prison. I was in work release and I was working offshore. Well, when I got out, I got an early release. It was really cool. They flew me on a helicopter from offshore all by myself, back on land. I got the release papers. I've been free for 3 days and nobody told me. Yeah. So they flew me in. And then uh, I got to make a trip to North Carolina to see my daughter. I was a free man and she'd already had 2 matches. So I went up to see my girls and everything. And then Michaela had found there was a fella down there with a ring. So he said I could come and pay him and use his ring. Do you mind if I smoke a cigarette?
Oh,
Do you mind?
absolutely. No,
Okay.
I'm
He
sorry.
said so. I uh, took my daughter. Well, she took me to the ring in Fayetteville or somewhere right around there in North Carolina. And this other wrestler that she had dated, his name was Ty Tyson, big old boy. He had some talent. I don't know whatever became of him or anything. But I know he was a Marine and stuff. He was about, I guess, 6'4", about 245, 250. Big boy.
Hmm.
And good timing, good athletic skills. So anyway, I get her in the ring and I want her to see how she does stuff. And the one fellow weighed about 170 pounds, the one with the ring, and I asked him if he would mind being like a tackle dummy, and he said no. I said, show me a body slam. And she picked him up like this and held him here. She didn't get that turn, that shoulder turn. Nobody taught her that. She just picked him up here and then dropped him. I said, what was that? And she said, a body slam. I said, no. Body slam me. And she's like, no. I said, why not? She said, because you're old and you're my dad and you're fat. So I told her, I said, sweetie, just body slam me one time. You'll feel the difference. And she went to slam me. Well, when she did, I posted because when you're in the ring wrestling, if you're not taking care of your body, you can't always depend on that guy that he's going to. So you post yourself and you push off of the other guy so you can land correctly. I don't want to land on my shoulder and my shoulder be gone for 6 or 8 months.
Hmm.
So I want to land with it. So if I can control my body, I can't control the being thrown, but I can control how, what position I land in.
Right.
So anyway, I spun up there and got on her, was right up there on her shoulder. And when she slammed me, she went, whoo! And I was coming up and she just snatched me and she slammed me again. And she went, woo! And I was crawling away and she snatched me and slammed me again. And she just hollered again. And I said, honey, one time. She said, sorry, Dad. It just, and that's how it clicked and came together for her. And then, so then I wanted to make sure that if it ever got to a really bad point, because I'm a really good wrestler. I can hook, I can, shoot, blah 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 blah. Anyway, so I taught her a couple of things. Well, I taught her one maneuver, and I made her put it on Ty, and I made her make him cry real tears. And then I was like, okay, you're good. This is the last resort. So he come up and said, you need to show me that. And I was like, no, that's for her to know, not you, you know.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, and it was awesome. So like, at least I was able to help out in the early parts of her career, and I fully support her in everything she's doing. Um, but also kind of on the inside, I wish she wasn't taking that chance, because I've seen her have a couple. I've seen her where she got a stinger and it'll come down on the top of her head. And for me, I was partially paralyzed twice, and I don't ever want my daughter to go through the pain and suffering that I went through.
She's had matches against the NWA Women's World Champion, Kenzie Page. Like I said, she's a current tag champion. So you know,
She's at the top of her
she's at the
game,
top. She's at the
baby.
top of the NWA. She's
Yeah.
vying for contending titles. She is a champion right now.
And I wanna thank with the NWA, I wanna thank them, uh, not because my daughter is a champion or anything. She deserved that. She earned that. No,
Right.
I wanna thank them in the way of what they've done as far as, the office, the I guess, we used to call it constructive criticism.
Sure.
I don't know. Do y'all remember Jazz?
Yeah. Yeah.
He
Sure.
wrestled for
Absolutely.
WWF.
Yeah.
And well, anyway, when Jazz first started, me and Charlie Norris trained with her and worked out with her a lot down in Louisiana when she first started. And that's when I first met Rodney Mack. He come down there and trained with us too. Well, gosh, I mean, the NWA, when I went down there to see, they had oh gosh, who all did I see? Um, Ricky Morton,
Hmm.
and he was helping guys, you
Wow.
know, but for my daughter, and this is where they really stepped it up. They had Jazz there, and she's been a tremendous help with just with everything. I don't know if it's a producer thing or exactly what it is, but she's really good. Roddy Mack, Ricky Morton, like I said, I even saw I think it was Tom Pritchard there. uh
Really? Wow.
yeah, I've seen a lot of the boys. I know Austin Idol's probably one of their in-ring, or not in-ring, but he's a manager or something like that.
Yeah. Hmm.
I know he's there. I spoke with him briefly, hey, how you doing? Blah blah blah. Anyway, I gave him a ride one time in Shreveport. We didn't have a lot to talk about, but anyway, he was there, so I guess that's good. And they got like an impressive. Oh, that fella, uh, impressive tag team, the two mask guys. Uh, God,
Um,
they're with that fella that was used to be Damian Sandow. Now he's somebody else for them.
oh, oh, Aaron Stevens.
Yeah, he is awesome, man. That kid he's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron. Yeah. Oh, I agree.
I told him I went to a few shows and for WWF or WWE back in two. I was there the night Steve Austin with me and Steve were talking, and then he no showed TV the next day, Sunday in New Orleans in 2002. And I was there, showed up at an event in 2007. And boy, when I showed up at that event, so I'm standing there talking to Mick Foley, because I wrestled him in one of his first matches. So he wrote about me in his first book. He called me a real chick magnet. Yeah, that was nice. Anyway, so I
Yeah.
was sitting there talking to him and Natalia, and I didn't know who she was. Natalia Neidhart come up and she said, "Are you Sam Houston?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "My father has told me so many stories about you." I said, well, who's your father? And she said, I'm Natty, Natalia Neidhart. And I was like, oh my God, the stories this girl knows. I was like, okay. So, you know, but anyway, so I'm standing there and we were talking. So then Edge comes up and he goes, I used to watch you when I was a little kid. Boy, I wanted to punch him right in the mouth. But I'm still in the ring, so if he wants a shot at me, he can. I'm recovering from some stuff, and we'll talk about that later. Um, uh, but oh, I just so want to punch him in the mouth for saying that. Now, but I got to admit, I have done that. I did do that to Terry Funk, and when they were doing Bill Apter interviews,
Oh
I go
yeah.
up and stand there till that finally they have to acknowledge me. I just stand there and look at them.
Yeah.
What, Sam? I just wanted you to know I watched you when you were a little kid. Go to hell, Sam. You know, it's like it's a lot of fun.
Who when you were a kid, who were some of your favorite wrestlers? In
My
the ring and
dad
out
and
of the
my
ring.
uncle Luke, you know, they were the Kentuckians. Those were my favorites.
Yeah.
Then when I learned, I guess around, around 12 or 13, there was a click or change about the business for me.
Hmm.
Won't really go into it, but I saw some things, and so it's kind of smart me up,
Right.
I'll see what's going on. But anyway, after that, then I started really checking out. I had favorite wrestlers, but they were my favorite wrestlers because they were my friends.
Right.
Mr. Wrestling, Tim Woods. When I was a little boy, 4 years old, I'm seeing the Assassins bloody my dad up every night, and I'm hoarse from the matches because I was there. And Mr. Wrestling come and sit with me to try to keep me calm, because that's my father,
Right.
and he's going to require a bunch of band-aids tonight, a lot of tape, and they're feeling bad. See, that was before and then after it was like then you start looking at athletes and their performances,
Right.
you know. So afterwards, and even though he wasn't the best wrestler or anything like that, as far as a performer, he was like top of the, he was top dog, was JYD. He was one of my good friends, because I was there for his first matches, when he was Sylvester Ritter. And then he went to Canada and stuff, and then he came back. I'm the guy that used to go get his wheelbarrow for the TV tapings, because I had to set the ring up and everything else. So I've done it all. I started off at the base of this business, putting up rings, helping my uncle Luke, Luke Brown, because he was my dad's tag team partner. But when he came back when I was about, I don't know, 9, 10 years old to Louisiana, he was the referee more, and then ran the ring crew, did the ring crew for extra money. I mean,
Hmm.
shoot, when I was 15 years old, I go set up the ring. That's $250. I keep time for the matches. That's another $50. I got if I hold your jackets and stuff like that, it's whatever you want to give me.
Right.
So I had my little hustle going on, in this business, you know, because I knew what was going on in the dressing rooms,
Right.
and so I knew what was going on. Yeah, so it's cool, and that way I can say I held every title in the Mid South territory, with before I ever got in the ring. I held every title.
Held every title.
I got to say 5 minutes gone by, 55 minutes left in the match. That was a big deal, man.
Yeah.
Playing the ring music, boom, boom, boom. Another one bites dust. The bad one was the first time I played Kabbalah's music. I hadn't seen his stuff on TV. I didn't know. Well,
Right.
I'm trying to figure out how you say this name. Kimala, and then I hit the music, right? It's like, what the heck? And then I look back at the dressing room and I see this big wooden mask and a guy with a spear running out, and everybody just ran. And
Yeah.
he's running right at me with a spear. Oh, dude, I jumped over the security railing with the microphone and the boombox. I'm getting away, you know. But
Uh,
so I had my comeuppance.
so you get in the business in 83, is that right?
Yeah, 83. September 13th, 1983, I wrestled Charlie Cook. I forgot every wrestling move I ever learned. But when the national anthem played, I was like, oh, you know, oh, it was scary, you know. And then when went to go get in the ring, the only thing I had was a cowboy hat. When I took my cowboy hat off, the top rope was so low in the Tampa Armory. It
Mhm.
was like waist high. I'm used to the Mid South rings where the rope was under your arm, you know. Uh,
Okay. All
but
right.
it was waist high. And when I took my hat off and leaned back to wave at everybody, I fell over the top rope backwards, cut a flip, landed on my feet, rolled up underneath the bottom rope, put my hat back on. I was hoping nobody saw.
Right. Wow. Who was booking Florida then? Was it Dusty?
Dusty.
Dusty was
Yeah,
booked.
so he gave me my shot, my break. Yeah.
And that was a notoriously like hard travel schedule, right? Because you're going around the perimeter
Oh
of
yeah,
Florida.
yeah. I mean, you were putting well, you're putting on anywhere between 60, 90, 250, whatever miles, every day. You're in Tampa one night, then the next day you got TV taping that morning, then you got to drive to Miami that night, wrestle in Miami, then come back, and then you're headed back the other way. It was all over the place. But it was fun. It was sunny. You're in Florida, everything's fun you know, and we all had a good time. There was a lot of camaraderie,
Right.
ribs and stuff, just everything happened. It was a lot of fun.
Were the
And I got the
Carolinas
best
easy?
advice. I got the best advice. Okay, Mike Rotundo and Mike Davis started messing with me, ribbing
Uh-huh.
me, So I was gonna, I didn't know. And then Hector Guerrero come to me one night and he said, Sam, he said, you're second generation because Hector knew me before I broke in. He actually was on a card for Bill Watts and he was all dressed up nice and everything. And I had to set up the ring in Lake Charles and I didn't
Mhm.
have any help. And my dad got there and he was helping me uh, get set up. And Hector had ridden with my dad and he's in his dress clothes. And he got out of the car and he helped me put that ring up. He helped me build that ring. But he told me in the dressing room that night, he said, Sam, never be second best. He didn't mean never be second in a race or never be second. Never put your second best effort forward, is
Mhm.
what he was letting me know. Always be the best that you can be. And no matter what it is, if it's in the ring or if it's in with ribs. So yeah, that pulled the cork, and yeah, those poor guys, oh, they screamed mercy, wanting to get away from me and everything else. I'd pull up behind them at a train station at the railroad track, so they'll be stopped by a train, and then dump a whole bucket of KFC chicken on top of their head through the sunroof and take off running. Oh, Mike Davis come out of his car and threw a spit bottle, missed my car. He was running that. Oh, it was great. We pulled up one time they were in a convenience store. I ran in and I took everybody's Copenhagen and Skull, all of it.
Mhm.
Right? They come in from getting something to drink. They're driving down the road. I finally pull up next to them and everything, moon them and stuff, and they're flipping me off and everything. Then I hold up their stuff, and they're like, pull over." And they wanted to fight then. We
Right.
had fun though on the road. They left me. They started all off by we were leaving Miami. We had to stop to pee about I don't know 50 miles outside of Miami, and while we were peeing, they all jumped in a car and left me there.
Wow.
Dusty and
Yeah.
Blackjack picked me up, an hour late or whatever later. Oh, we had fun that night. But I drank a lot of beer with Dusty and Jack that night.
Did you learn a lot on the road with the older guys?
Yeah, they were giving me advice every night, and I was able to implicate it the next day. That's what the business is missing now. You know,
Mhm.
now you have guys don't know because they don't get in the ring and they don't work. They don't work like they need to. They don't know what they're doing really. They have to go to a TV taping and have somebody show them how to have a match.
Right.
Okay, it's wrestling ain't supposed to be scripted.
Right.
You're supposed to know what you're doing. If you don't have all the tools, get out of the business, you know, or find another venue, something.
Right.
but learn your product or learn, uh, you got some amazing guys, or I don't know, maybe they're not now, but like that guy that was Dolph Ziggler,
Yeah.
now he's somebody else. But that guy's got potential. He's got more than potential. He's got talent. He's got what it takes. You
Yeah.
know, you got so many guys, but a lot of times I think it's the management, the mismanagement stuff. Only certain guys are offered only certain guys are offered the merchandising deal like this. Well,
Right.
you get the red carpet when you get this one, you get pennies on the dollar, you know. You get crumbs. I'm gonna eat steak over here while you eat crumbs.
Right.
But there's a lot of stuff that ain't fair. But that's how it is. My biggest payoff ever was the Great American Bash. That was $22,500.
Wow.
I made that for the ass whipping was Abdullah the Butcher, the Barbarian, and Superstar Billy Graham, and they were beating up on me. Oh, dude. I finally hooked Billy Graham with a small package, and the place went nuts, Uh people I shouldn't have to only just be able to beat you with one move. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I should be able to pin you this way. I might have pet moves or
Yeah.
whatever, but
Sure. Sure.
I should be able to pin you anytime I wanted. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and people took that away. It's got to be this. Oh, you've always got to do this. Oh, you've always, if you're in a real fight, you ain't doing that shit.
You're gonna win however you have to win, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm taking an eye,
Yeah.
whatever.
Um, you get to Mid Atlantic, 2 years in the business, you're wrestling Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, Barry Darsow, Crusher Khrushchev. How much did you learn just through osmosis, locking up with those guys, or is it
Oh,
all?
so much. Oh, so much. Tully Blanchard. Okay, Tully Blanchard. I was in college, I guess high school too, was quarterback.
Yeah,
Dude, that guy could run backwards faster than most guy could run frontwards. Because he had that, and he used that. And what? Oh God, he was great. A lot of people don't look at these things.
no,
They don't give credit. It's the little things, guys. Arn Anderson. Okay, here's the big problem with the guys today, as opposed to the guys then. Those guys then, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Barbarian, they weren't gimmicks. They weren't shows. That was Ric
hmm,
Flair, the world champion.
right,
That was Tully Blanchard, the world TV champion. That was, those were real guys. These guys here are actors trying to portray a character.
sure,
That that's not how you do it. It's like the guy said, "Oh, what a cool gimmick." No, this is real life, Jack.
absolutely,
You know, um, so they need to be themselves or an extension of themselves.
sure,
You know, uh, I was born Michael Smith. I'm most identified by Sam Houston. Sam Houston is an extension of Michael Smith.
right,
Sam Houston is Michael Smith's Superman. If
right,
that,
sure, yeah,
that's when I take my glasses off and then I turn from Clark Kent to Super. I'm actually better than Superman. I've been through a lot more.
in
I
one,
did have a cape one time. It hung in a museum for 30 years. It's out there somewhere. I talked to a fellow
yeah,
that bought it.
wow,
That cape is also in one of Bill Apter's magazines. I'm dancing with my mom at Sam Houston Coliseum in Houston, Texas one night.
that's awesome,
I got all kinds of stuff that gosh, that make memories, that make life great.
yeah,
And I was there for so much of it. Like uh Donald Trump was my boss for WrestleMania 4 and 5. Isn't
yeah,
that cool? My big brother dropped a snake on Donald Trump's wife. You know,
yeah.
uh, my, gosh, I mean, I've done some pretty cool stuff.
Not many people can say they were in Starcade and in WrestleMania. I mean, it's got
Yeah.
to be less than 100 wrestlers,
I was
right?
in the first Royal Rumble too. So I want to start a campaign or something. Uh, I want to get my health back in shape and everything, but I want to start a campaign. I want to do Royal Rumble, maybe if not this one coming up, maybe the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you know what's fun to do in a battle royal, especially if you know you ain't got no chance in hell in winning.
What's that?
You go around and everybody that ain't looking, you slap the snot of them out of them in the back, just bam, and run away.
Yeah.
Get them all, get as many as you can. And if you get them all, then jump over the top rope and eliminate yourself. But at least you got their shots in. That way, every one of them guys wants a match with you. So
Sure.
they'll go to that promoter and say, I want to work with him. I'll
Yeah. You
keep
slap the.
yourself booked.
Yeah.
Try that sometime. But
Uh,
anyway, hey, I'm gonna have to go in a little bit, but
sure.
I want to get back together with you and do some more of these things. I'd like for your listeners, man, I really enjoyed my time with y'all today. I've got some big news coming up. I don't want to break anything premature, so it'll be in a couple days coming up, but I want to be back with you. I got something really incredible to share with everybody. And please keep Black Bart in your prayers. I know there's a lot of sick people out there. And uh, we all need prayers and we all need help. And we want to help as many people as we can. And if we can band together, well, Black Bart, he spent his lifetime entertaining the millions of people across the world that we with pay-per-view and everything, we've entertained millions. Um, we don't have any sort of policies, life insurance or disability or anything that we were able to get. We were like race car drivers, uninsurable. Well, he's gone through something, and any little bit helps. So anybody that would, donate, make a donation for Black Bart, reach me. If you want an 8x10 picture, we'll do $30 for that. If you want a T-shirt, we'll do $40 for that. Bandanas are $10, and we could do something like that. I've even got something, and we'll break this out on Monday, a limited supply of cowbells because Bart and I had a lot of bull rope matches. A limited supply of cowbells. They're signed by myself and Black Bart. They come with 8x10 picture of one of our bloodier battles, and it comes in a tongue-in-cheek a potato sack with Black Bart's image on one side, my image on the other. Um, and those are for $1,000 donators. There's only 20 of them left. I think 19 or 20 of them left. We started with 30. I kept one, Bart kept one, and so the others have gone out already. So we got a limited supply. I know that after one of us passes or something like that, those things are going to be priced through the roof. So if you want to do something good, if you're a serious collector, if you want to help Black Bart out, um, hit me up. I'd really like to hook you up with one of these bells because the price tag only goes up. So get them while you can. And I want to thank you, Ray, because this has really been a whole lot of fun for me. And I can't wait to get together and do some more stuff with you.
It's an honor and a privilege to take this time with you and talk with you, listen to your stories. Uh,
Oh, I got loads of them. We need to get together and just chow down, man.
I,
I have to have you up here at the bunkhouse sometime. So let's look forward and try to make something work out.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that, Mr.
All
Houston.
right, we'll
Thank you.
tell you everybody. The Anishinaabe way is not goodbye because when you say goodbye to something, it's gone. It's good. Giga Wobbleman. It means see you later. So Giga Wobbleman, y'all. Later.
Thank you, Mr. Houston.
Uh huh.